Problem number 1. How many different sums can be obtained by adding any two different integers chosen from these 35 consecutive integers? Alright, well, when you first look at this, if you've done any combinations and permutation problems, you might think of this as being a combination problem. You're taking combinations of pairs of numbers and coming up with sums. But, they're asking for different sums, so you'll quickly realize that, well, you could take, say, for example, if you are looking for the sum of 7, you can get that by adding, 0 and 7, or 1 and 6, or 2 and 5, or, a bunch of different ways, right? The same way, if you want to get a sum of 15, you can get that with 15 and 0, or 1 and, 1 and 14, or 2 and 13. So that's kind of the hard way to do it. You could do it that way. But the easier way, if you step back and look at this, you see this is just a list of integers. And when you add any two integers, you're going to get another integer, right? So, so you're not going to get anything other than an integer. And you also have a 1 in here. So you could, you'll essentially get every integer between a certain minimum number and a certain maximum number. So let's figure out what the maximum and the minimum of the sums are. And if you read carefully, you have to have two different integers from this list. So you can't choose 17 twice and get 34. So the biggest number that you can get when you add any two integers from this list is 33, right? 16 plus 17 is 33. And anything else, that you add to 17 is just going to be smaller. So that's as big as you can get. That's the maximum. And the minimum is going to be when you take these two negative numbers and you get a negative 33 when you add negative 17 and negative 16. So you know that all of the numbers are going to be bounded by these two limits, right? Negative 33 and 33. And because you can always, you've got all the integers, you can always add one or subtract one to any of these sums. So you'll essentially get every integer between negative 33 and 33. So you can get negative 32, negative 31, and so on, all the way up to 33. So this is just a list of consecutive integers. And we can count that list easy enough. You know that if you do the same thing to every number in this list, it's not going to change the number of numbers in the list, right? So we're trying to count the number of numbers then in this list. So let's just add 34 to every number in this list. And then, that doesn't change the number of numbers, but it allows us to start with 1, and it's a lot easier to count things when you start from 1. So let's add 34 to everything. So if you add 34 to negative 33, you get 1. If you add 34 to negative 32, you get 2 and 3 and so on, all the way up to 33 plus 34, which is 67. Okay? So we know that this list has to have the same number of numbers as this list up here. Alright? And so we know there are 67 numbers in that list. Okay? So we can get 67 different sums by choosing any two different numbers in this list. So there's your answer.